Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Emergency live session on the first day of free agency. The Raiders are getting busy. Other than quarterback, Soto, the number one, in my opinion, number one position that we needed to fill was defensive tackle. Number one position we needed to fill. And the Raiders filled it. Ian Rappaport was the first to report. One of the top free agents is off the market as Dolphins star defensive tackle Christian Wilkins is headed to the Raiders. 4-year deal, $110 million, almost $85 million guaranteed. The Raiders took one of the biggest holes they had on defense and filled it with arguably the best free agent on the market currently.
So it was just an amazing thing to me how fast Tom Telesco works, because it was only like an hour into free agency that he got all this together, that he contacted Wilkins and his people and talked for the very first time and got it all squared, all the language done and the dollars in just over an hour.
No one tampers like the NFL tampers.
This is such bullshit, but whatever. I don't care. I'm just being cheeky because it's like it's such a ridiculous, but whatever. It shows Telesco wanted to build from inside out when he was with the Chargers. He wants to do the same thing here with the Raiders. What is going to unlock the weapons that we have on the defensive line? What can a defensive line do for the rest of you? I heard this in the you can have Sauce Gardner and you can have Darrell Green and you can have Prime and you can have all these Hall of Famers in the backfield. If you can't get to the quarterback, they're going to get beat eventually. You have to get to the quarterback. You have to put pressure. It's going to be a monster to try to block Wilkins and Maxx on the same side. That's going to be painful. The quarterbacks AP said it. They figured out they got to touch Mahomes every single play. Well, they just got a little bit easier for him to touch him every play.
The number one guy I wanted was Chris Jones. He never technically became a free agent. The Chiefs signed him or re-signed him 5 years, $95 million. This is a hefty price for Wilkins. He's getting him for 4 years, $110 million, 84 guaranteed. So this is a lot. Kind of the going rate these days for an elite defensive tackle. And when you're moving fast, the day one signings are big like that, right? Like you're not kind of waiting for the market to figure out. You just kind of go. So a little bit more than I'd like to pay. A bit. I'm griping. This is a great sign up. And this is also, you always ask yourself, why is a guy a free agent, right? Like, why do the other team not want them? And this is the best reason why. The Dolphins just have way too many stars to pay. Like they just could not afford to keep Christian Wilkins. It's not like they let him go because, he's bad in the locker room or his play's starting to fall. He's got an injury we don't know about. The Dolphins just cannot afford to pay all their stars. So this is exactly the type of free agent cast off, quote unquote, that you want. It's just a cap casualty. Not that they didn't want him.
The Dolphins tried. They tried last year. They tried to sign him, and Wilkins played it perfectly. The worst thing to happen was Chris Jones to re-sign with the Chiefs before this tampering period happened, because now he set the market, and Wilkins is like, I'm only going to take a little bit underneath that, and not much, so you better come with the cheddar. And, this is something that when you have a good part of you – so, look, the jury's still out. What did they play over their heads? I don't think you can play over your head for 2 months and be the best. Are they the best defense in the NFL? Maybe, maybe not. But they're not going to be like middle of the pack to like below average defense. They're still going to be a good defense. There's nothing wrong. And when you add pieces, you want to add them right now. If you want to make a good part of the ball better, you add the pieces today to put them over the top. So with Christian Wilkins, we can very well be talking about a top 5 defense again.
Especially like, look, it's people are saying like, well, why are you going there when there's other positions in need? It's like, well, we desperately need a defensive tackle. Like Bilal Nichols just signed with Arizona, 3-year, $21 million deal to go to the Cardinals. We needed defensive tackles. We needed, and we got the best guy. I mean, I would say the best defensive player available in free agency, arguably like it's either Kirk Cousins or Wilkins as the two best free agents currently available, more or less.
When you put him on the defensive line with the rest of the guys that we have, this can be the most impactful signing today.
Mm-hmm.
With how he can unlock the rest of the guys. Christian Wilkins, if you haven't seen him play, go check it out. Go watch him play. He plays the run equally well as he does the pass. So he's not just like, oh, he's a pass rushing defensive. No, he's huge, and he can stop up the run, and he can rush the passer. This dude is from the inside. I think what was he, like 98? That's like an NFL record or something like that for defensive tackles. He almost 100 tackles as a defensive tackle 2 years ago.
Yep.
Dude's beast.
He had 4.5 sacks in 2021. He doubled that number last season. Right. This guy, he picked the right time to play great. Right. They on his 5th year of a rookie deal, franchise tag. Like, okay, this is when you go nuts. And he did. We're looking at the stats right now. 65 tackles last season, 9 sacks, like you mentioned. And that 98 wasn't a blip. He had 89 tackles the season before. So he does it all. And he fits beautifully into it. He wouldn't technically be in the NASCAR package because he's a defensive tackle. But if you go Kuntz, Wilson, Wilkins, Maxx on passing downs, good golly,
that could be our regular. Yeah, that can be our. Hey, you're showing them our rundown. You're showing them our rundown.
So much is dependent on. You guys saw my rundown. So much is dependent on Tyree Wilson. How does he develop? Right? Is he going to be the starting, cornerstone defensive end that we drafted him to be? A lot is dependent on that. But I mean, even if he's just moderately improved from his rookie season, maybe you move him into defensive tackle. Maybe you have him and Kuntz kind of rotate. Kuntz has only got 1 year left on his deal. We'll see how that pans out. But he added that flexibility, right? He can play either side. He can play end if you need him to. Fits right in.
Tyree played almost exclusively defensive tackle towards the end of the year. I don't think I remember seeing him outside very much. If that's the way they want to go, they have a productive, huge run stopper and a more of a, hopefully, quicker, more pass rushing type of slasher type bull in Wilson on the inside. So you have, you don't have the same player on the inside. You have 2 different guys with 2 different skill sets. It looks like it could be something that's, that can be a problem. You got 2 guys on the outside that can really rush the quarterback. Malcolm Kuntz got a lot better against the run towards the end of the season. You could see that he was setting the edge a lot better, making some tackles for loss. So when you start inside out, I mean, this is a pretty good way to start.
Ty Davis, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. With this signing, I can see our defense at top 5. So I'm a little more nervous than you, Soto, that this defense that we saw the last 9 games of last season is here to stay. Like, I'm a little bit more nervous than you. It's just hard when you go 20 years of complete garbage and watch it turn around on a dime and say that's here to stay. We're hoping. We're hoping Antonio Pierce, what he brought, is here to stay. Patrick Graham finally got everyone firing on all cylinders. These players are believing in each other. Addition of Jack Jones, now the addition of Christian Wilkins, whoever we draft. Corner is still a huge area of need, but that's basically it.
That's every team in the NFL. Like, you ask every team, like, you need this, and corner. Everyone needs corners.
We desperately need them. Need another starting corner as well. But I mean, look, it feels like that's the way it should go. We keep basically everyone from the defense last season, same defensive coaching staff from last season, more or less.
Almost every guy. Almost every guy.
Right, a couple assistants, but the main people, the main 2 instruments of the defense, right? AP, PG. You add Wilkins. Maybe we go corner first round or something like that, right? If we do something like that, like, keep the momentum going, keep the locker room as the way that it is. Maxx is healthy and better. Jack Jones is 1 more year into the system. All the young guys 1 year better. Kuntz keeps that momentum. Shit, man. It might even be better than last season. We were number 1 in those last 9 games.
It could be. I don't see us with the way we were flying around. I don't see us just resting on our laurels. I don't think that the leader of the defense is going to allow anyone else on that defense. Um, it became a little bit more obvious towards the end of the season, and maybe because he started his podcast and he was a little bit more frank with like the fans and stuff like that. Is we see Maxx Crosby embracing that leadership role, but like a vocal leadership role, not just, oh yeah, I lead by example. No, that's not the case anymore. He's the one out there getting everybody together, and I don't know that he's going to allow that to happen, honestly. And whether it's through himself or other players, I just think that this defense can be, even though it doesn't have quote unquote that many stars on it. I mean, you have two, maybe three if Jack Jones continues to rise the way he's been going, and depending on what we do in the first round. And it looks a lot better for us to get one of the top one or two corners in the draft, even at 13. With a lot of these teams like Minnesota, having to take a quarterback now, these guys aren't going to really jump out of the way anymore. They're not going to try to trade back or anything like that. So, it just seems like we could be building something really special for a long time.
I love this signing because it's very Antonio Pierce, Christian Wilkins. He's an in-your-face dude, always like trying to like needle, offensive linemen, opposing
He
quarterback.
grabs the junk. Remember, you see those videos?
Yeah, dude. You like cheap shot dudes, talking trash, physical presence, right? Like this is what Antonio Pierce is talking about. I want an in-your-face,
dick in the pile.
physical dude. He's gonna get in your head. He's gonna get after you physically. One of my buddies, a Dolphins fan, and he sent me a message. He's like, he got better. He's talking about Wilkins. He got better every year. I'm sad he's gone. You'll love him. He gets under every opponent's skin and is also the consummate teammate, which I like that second part because I know he was an asshole to opposing offenses, but is he just an asshole in general, right? But he said like, no, this guy, like he's always celebrating with the offense. He's always around, like great locker room guy, great physical presence. Like he's like Maxx Crosby, but better at that part. Like Maxx Crosby's like always in your face, but his shit talk's kind of not good. Wilkins is like, well, let me show you back. Like you do the physical, Max. I'll do the talking. We'll get in this quarterback's head.
Yeah, little boy.
Yeah, like just little boy over and over again. The other part of this,
little boy.
I want to get to. We're always worried whenever we sign a player that played well from a really good defense. The Dolphins had a really good defense last season. It's like, okay, is he really that good? Or when he's surrounded by a good defense, he just happens to look good, right? We've had multiple free agent signings that didn't pan out for us. Great defense came over and they really weren't that good. I'm not as worried about it this time because he's going to be playing next to Maxx. So let's say Christian Wilkins was just, he was with other really great defensive linemen, and so he was able to like never get double teamed and play well. If you're lined up against Maxx, you're in the exact same situation. Like you're still in a position where you're surrounded by greatness, and you can be that support player to Maxx.
So one of the like glaring examples of what you just mentioned was Corey Littleton. I was kind of hesitant on Corey Littleton because he didn't have two All-Pros at defensive tackle eating up double teams.
Yeah.
With the Raiders. That was my big concern. If you take a look back, Christian Wilkinson was one of the, if not the headache on that defensive line. Now, they had some good plays. They had Phillips. They had a couple other guys over there. But he was the guy that you needed to stop on that defensive line, even though he didn't have the gaudy numbers that some of the other guys had. He was the guy that the offense is focused on. So it wasn't like you're getting a secondary piece over here. You're getting like the guy from the middle of that defense, and you're bringing it to here.
A couple more things on him. How good is he? Top 3, top 5, top 8? Can we get a ruling?
He's definitely in the top 5.
You think for sure top 5? Okay.
I mean, with all these caveats, is if he's healthy. If he plays, 15, 16 games, 17 games with Maxx Crosby, with Coons, with the other guys on the line that we have, I think he can be he can be special. He definitely, like, for sure is going to be a top 10. And just like I think our defense in general, we can for sure be a top 10 defense, top 5 if everything pans out. Yeah.
I've been saying it forever. The only thing keeping Maxx Crosby from getting the attention he deserves in the defensive MVP consideration, he didn't get one vote for defensive MVP this season. And that's because the defense had always sucked, right? Raiders defense has sucked for as long as Max has been there. With the addition of Christian Wilkins, with the defense actually playing well, mark my words, this is a defensive player of the year season coming for Maxx Crosby. He's always played at that level. He just never had the support and like the surrounding numbers. Because it happens every single, like the defensive player of the year is always like the best dude on like one of the best defenses. It's always that way, right? Now that this defense is established and he's got Wilkins next to him, so Max doesn't have to eat triple teams every single play. Mark my words. Mark this down, Windbags. Maxx Crosby, defensive player of the year next season. Just playing exactly the same as he always has, but now he's got the support and the numbers will back it. Mark my words.
It's definitely a not a bad bet. You're not going to get great odds on that from Vegas, just because he's never had a player on the line this good to play with. Never. He's never had a guy nearly this good. He's the closest thing to Maxx Crosby that we've ever had on the defensive line. He's that good.
Switching gears. Easy come, easy go, Raider Nation. If anyone knows a good tattoo artist in Wisconsin that can turn the Raiders logo into a piece of cheese, send it our boys' way. Josh Jacobs signed with the Packers, according to Ian Rappaport. He had 5 years with the Raiders. Franchise tagged him last season. Didn't want to pay him. The latest numbers we've seen, they're just now coming up. Don't know what don't know what the guaranteed money is, but 4 years, $48 million.
That's fucking insane.
We'll wait and see what the guaranteed money is. But if he's getting guaranteed 9, 10,
35,
million, right? Yeah, if he's getting like, let's say it's 35 or something like that, then
that's fucking insane, dude.
Good for you, Josh. We were never going to pay that.
We were never going to pay that much.
Thank you for your service, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for what you've done for us.
Go get your money.
Oh, shit.
Never going to pay that.
Raiders signed Gardner Minshew.
I know. I saw that. You want to stay on Josh and do another one on Minshew? How do you want to do this?
I just popped up. It just popped up, and I'm like, oh, he beat us a couple times, little fucker.
Josh Jacobs. Closing thoughts. What's the exit interview? What's that like with Josh Jacobs?
Look, man, it's one thing I said before last season. The worst thing that can happen is he misses time, and Zeus goes out there and kills it. Zeus averaged 100 yards a game the last 4 games when he was the starter, when he was the guy. He averaged 100 yards a game, and it wasn't like he was against bad defenses too. He played the Chiefs. He played a couple of good defenses out there. So it's like, all right, Zeus looks like he can be the dude. We all want to talk about the defense scoring 2 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Well, you know what? Our boy didn't have a bad second half against the Chiefs, killing the clock and eating time when we needed it. And he's younger. He's less injury prone. I don't care what you say. There's no way he's 219 pounds. You just look at the dude, you're like, that's not 219. That is absolutely crazy. He must have like hollow bones or like missing some internal organs for him to look 219. There's no way.
Yeah. Exactly true. He played great for us. The injuries, the one great, awesome season coming off of not a great season. It was bound. And plus, like you said, we got Zeus White who can play. Certainly not Josh Jacobs. No one's saying Zeus is as good as Josh, but if he can play 80, 85% as well as Josh and make 10% the money.
Look. Wait. I think we should look at this the wrong way. They're different players. Okay. So can Zeus go in there and run in the scheme and the offense the way that Josh Jacobs can? No, but I don't know that Josh Jacobs can run the same way that Zeus runs either. They've both shown to be good at what they do. And when Zeus was given the reins and the play calling and the way that they blocked for Zeus was just specifically for him those last 4 games, he showed he can do really well. So I'm not trying to say that Zeus can't go out there and be a 1,200, 1,300 yard back. I think he can, but it's definitely not going to look the same.
Well, I don't think that's the goal. They're not going to have Zeus be an every down back, right? Like they re-signed Amir Abdullah. They'll probably draft another running back late. It'll be more running back by committee. When you're paying Josh Jacobs, $12 million, you're like, okay, you're getting 40 snaps a game, right? You're getting 40 because we're paying you that much. When you've got a third year, third rounder, you don't have to feel so committed to him. You can just put the best back for whatever play you're in. So I think it's going to be a lot more running. Yeah, exactly. Don't look at it as like Zeus is now replacing Josh. It's more, we've got a running back by committee now. That's a third of what
pretty
Josh
good backs.
Total. Yeah,
pretty good backs. I keep looking at this. I keep looking at this guy. He's small. He's not as big as his dad was, but Frank Gore Jr. Man, if we get up like maybe the 5th round-ish or 6th round, he's still out there. I might want to take a chance on him.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's good to and not to be like revisionist history. Josh Jacobs was great for us. Loved him. Wish we could have kept him. Just weren't going to pay that running, but that kind of money when we have so many other.
Not at 4 for 48.
Not going to do that, right? Not going to do that. So I'm not trying to revisionist history, Josh Jacobs, but I think some context is important. He was a volume guy. Like that's what made him good, was that he would get 25 touches a game, and that's how he'd get his 125 yards, right? He wasn't like, you look at like his rushes, right? Since his rookie season, he didn't average great. Yards per rush, 37th. Percentage of rushes for touchdown, 23rd. Percentage of rushes for 10 plus yards, 124th in the league. Percentage of rushes for first down, 44th. Third down conversion percentage, 40th. Now, in fairness, he was on a really bad offense for a lot of that. Had really bad offensive linemen for a lot of that. And his yards after carry were fantastic. So he didn't get a ton of help. He was doing a lot of this by himself. But even with that context, the numbers he put up is because we ran the ball so much, and he was the primary back for so much of it, which is a good thing in a running back. We want him to have that, be able to do that. But it wasn't like he was averaging 5.3 yards per carry every season.
Yeah, I don't want to make this a whole discussion, but I'm going to push back a little bit on the offensive line. He had some pretty good guys out there. He had Rodney Hudson. He had Gabe Jackson for a year. Mm-hmm. He had Incognito, who played well. Like this last year, the offensive line didn't block great in the beginning of the year, but got better towards the end. This was probably the worst. Last year, the beginning of the year was the worst offensive line he had. But man, they did pretty well when he won, the rushing title. So yeah, you're right. He is more of a volume guy, and that's why it was really kind of strange to me why Green Bay would sign him when they have Aaron Jones, and they just end up cutting Aaron Jones.
Yep.
So that makes more sense now. That he's a bell cow back. If you want to get the best out of Josh Jacobs, you got to give him 20 carries, 22 carries a game, which is weird. Before we're like, yeah, you got to give a guy 30 carries for him to warm up. He's like a diesel engine, but like now it's like 20, 21, 22 carries is a ton of carries in the NFL now.
When DeAndre Swift got 3 years, $27 million, 15 guaranteed this morning, I thought, okay, I think that's like in the ballpark of what I would pay for Josh Jacobs. Swift's a year younger and coming off a way better season than Josh Jacobs was coming off of. So I thought, okay, maybe we get even less than that. You know what I mean? 3 years, 24 mil, 12.
48, man, that's a lot.
Give him I was down for like $6 million a year guaranteed, something like that. I was down for that. Saquon was going to get the biggest deal, and he did. 3 years, $37 million for Saquon. I thought, okay, like
that's a lot too.
That's a lot for Saquon. I was thinking like the Swift numbers, right? That's what I was down for. The 4 years, 48. I was like, okay, that made it easy, right? If you're getting that deal, if you're getting those offers out there, Josh, it made Telesco's decision really easy.
I would have been iffy to give him that third year, honestly. Like, I'm not trying to talk shit, but like, we just showed you why. Like, he's a young, but like his body is not young. Mm-hmm. Since he entered the league, he has the second most carries in the NFL. That's we can't discount that.
Yeah, that's real.
We have to take a look at that, and then that's something that we need to be kind of cognizant of when we talk about how many years you want to give these backs, and it's 4 years, dude. That's I mean, I'm glad someone else did it, not us.
He does have the advantage that he wasn't even the starting back in college, right? If you remember. So he didn't have the same wear and tear that a lot of like SEC running backs get. Like they'll come into the NFL already beat up. Those like 3-year
Already beat
starters
up,
in the
yeah.
SEC. That wasn't him. He's still young. So there's some elements. I can see why the Packers think they can get 4 good years out of him, but but it's true. I mean, he got injured
man,
every
look.
single year except his career, except 2 seasons ago, and he runs hard. He runs that style. He's not overly big for a guy that runs that style.
We're gonna see how those hits feel, come November and December up in Green Bay.
Yeah, now it's cold and you're playing against the Bears and going against like that NFC North style football. Again, not
good for him, man. He got that bag. I'm not like hating on him for getting that money. I'm glad we're not the ones that gave him those 4 years. Because I mean, the money is one thing, but the 4 years for me is they're both a lot, I think.
He's gonna be missed. He was probably the most liked Raider on the team other than Maxx. I would say he's probably the number 2 most liked guy. Like his story, how hard he played. It was frustrating with the injuries, but yeah, man. I mean, there's probably more Josh Jacobs jerseys than any other jersey other than Maxx.
Yeah, dude. This is why I always talk about, you can love the players while they're here, and I'm not saying you have to hate them when they're gone, but it's about the team, man. And a lot of these younger fans that I see, that I talk to, they're all, I'm a fan of this player, I'm a fan of that player, because players change teams so often now. And if you're a fan of a team, which there's still a lot of diehard fans of teams, we have to be, we can appreciate the work that someone's done. He didn't say anything bad on the way out, and he just came in here and worked. Maybe he could have been in a little bit of better shape at the beginning of last year. He looked a little thick, but whatever, man. It happens. We can move on from it, and I have nothing but good memories of Josh Jacobs.
Good news is we don't play the Packers next season, unless we're both in the Super Bowl, and I don't think we'd play them because we just played the NFC North.
We played them twice in a row, I think. 2 years in a row, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, one of them was because we played the NFC North, and the other one was those 3 last games.
That funky game, yeah.
Yeah. So we probably won't have to play him for another 2 seasons. So there's no, we probably won't have to root against Josh Jacobs anytime soon, which is nice. You don't want to have to root against Josh Jacobs. But if he's anything like that, we don't want him doing anything that hurts the Raiders.
Minshew, 2 years, 25 mil, 15 guaranteed. That's about right for a backup these days.
That also makes me think that the Raiders,
we're not drafting a quarterback in the first round.
No, it makes me think we are. It makes me think we are.
So?
Because I think because Minshew's like, you don't want, if he's starting for you, you screwed up. You know what I mean? Like you don't. He was the type of what I was saying before was like, look, if we're gonna draft like a 3rd or 4th, late 2nd quarterback, then I'm gonna want like a Cousins or a Mayfield type of veteran. If we're gonna draft high, right, trade up and get some guy that wants to be our guy, then like Minshew-ish would be kind of like my starting guy. I think this tells me that we're gonna go.
We're gonna have to battle, man. We're gonna have to battle. We may have to trade up twice. I think if we trade into the top 10, and then we can make a move from there, depending on how the first couple of picks go. But man, it's gonna be crazy because there's gonna be a lot of teams that have a lot. There's some teams out there that have good offenses, good weapons, but no quarterback. And they're going to be like, wait a second. That's why the Falcons paid as much as they did for freaking Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. Like, look, man, we got some weapons. We paid our last 3 first-round picks. Was it Pitts, London, and Bijan Robinson? Like they're putting their money into their weapons.
Yeah.
So they need a quarterback. So you have a few teams out there who got some weapons. All they need is a quarterback. So we got to jump up ahead of those guys.
Yeah. You got to bounce, right? You got to.
Yeah, I got to take off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Maybe we'll do a Minshew video tonight, this afternoon or something like that. Maybe. All right. Maybe. Keep an eye out for the Minshew video. But Christian Wilkins is a Raider. Josh Jacobs is not. Gardner Minshew, and hopefully he's a backup. Day 1 of free agency. Tom Telesco got busy. Getting busy. All right, we'll keep you guys updated on everything going on, videos and live all coming. And until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.